Welcome back to Southern Hook and Hunt, everybody. So when I'm surfing YouTube and I'm watching kayak videos, I always like to see what people are using, their setup, and I kind of like to get an idea and build off what they might have, because we learn from each other. Someone might have something that's like, oh man, that's a good idea, let me do that, or why didn't I think of that? So today, before I go fish tomorrow and send you a video tomorrow, I was just going to show you my setup and what I like to use and what I like to do for my kayak. Now, this is my preference. You don't have to do it how I'm doing it. This is just how I like to do it and all that. So without any delay, let's start up here in front. So up here I have little cleats, so if I need to tie off on a pier for some reason or anything like that, I can tie off. I actually use this as well for a rope. When I have my bucket for live shrimp and all that, I'll hang it off to the side so I don't have a motor running and I'm not using battery and all that, so it's on either side. This right here is from Yak Attack as well. I put my phone, this is how I used to take pictures and stuff now, but now that I have a GoPro, which this is my first GoPro video, we'll see how it turns out and hopefully to get better and all that. Up here, well, this right here, this is something I put on as well. They're just water caps, essentially keep moisture out when you wash your boat or if you get caught in a rainstorm and all that. It helps keep moisture out so you don't have to flip them over and all that. Now, this is something I did extra and I really like it. So it holds a 3600 tray, which this is a Cast King tray. Get out of the house and go fish really turned me on to Cast King. So it's waterproof, keeps moisture out and all that, but we'll get into that later. But this right here, I have all my tools I need right in front of me when I'm fishing. So I got my fish grip, I got a knife, so when I gut the fish, I got a pair of fishing scissors, and then I got my pliers right here, and it's all right here, and they're all on lanyards, so if something was to happen, I'm not losing them, except the knife. I don't have the knife on a lanyard. I mean, you can get these at Brown's Fish Camp or anywhere else, but I normally get my live bait from Brown, so that's where I got that. So I really like that. This comes in really handy. All your tools in one spot, all your hooks, all your lures, and stuff like that. So, and then I have a telescopic tube holder right here, and so when I'm out fishing, I catch a fish, I will normally, I'll have a trolling, however you say it, here or here, just depending on where I'm at, in a situation. But normally I'll have my fish net and that one over there. That way when I catch a fish, I can grab it real quick and go. And then will put the pole right there when I'm taking the fish off the hook, so I don't lose the fish and all that. And then here, you got your storage. You got, I got one container with tools and leader line, pop and cork, plugs, my pop and cork fish hooks, which I'll get into in a minute. So then back here, got another cap on, keep it clear. I have my yak box, and I take 4 poles out. I have 2 medium heavies and just 2 medium power ones. My medium power, they're all 3,000 reels. They're all 3,000 reels, Florida Fishing Products. I bought all this from Renworks they're up there on Amelia Island. Great fishing store. You guys really need to go check out Renworks. It's a father-son owned store. They're very generous, they're very nice, very helpful, and yeah, you should go see them. But I run on my medium heavy. I run my braid line a little bit heavier. I run those with 20-pound braid and 30-pound leader mono when I have a top water plug on it, and that's because I want the mono to float with the top water plug. But then on my other ones, I do 10-pound braid with 20-pound leader, and I normally do a 1/8 weedless and then 3/16, and then, you know, if I need to change them, I can change them. It's not that big of a deal. But for the fishing rods, that's normally what I take out. And I know there's 2 popping corks. You can see one is, you know, they're different styles. I believe this one casts better in the wind, or I could have it mixed up, but one's for light wind, one's for heavier winds. It just, you know, I have that set up because most of the time I'm not getting out there. Like tomorrow, I'm not going to get out there bright and early, so I won't even have time to really throw top water. So that's why I have 2 popping corks. I can just throw them both out, put some live bait, and hopefully let the shrimp do the work. And then that's my live bucket for shrimp. I put a battery, I put 2 zip ties right there, hook the battery on when it's, you know, not in the water to keep the shrimp live and all that. And then right here, I think this is, everyone should have one of these. I know people can say they look tacky, but it's a flag. Jet skiers, if you're in a kayak, you know how jet skiers are. Boats, you know, especially in the morning hours, you know, you got this right here. If I twist it, it does light up. Just helps with the visibility, you know. And then here, I put my net here until I get out, and then it'll go here. And then in my yak box, I got all the prawns, great product by Salt Strong. I got my dry bag with some dry clothes in case something happens, some rags, a first aid kit, peroxide. You should always have that because you never know what might happen. You could cut your hand, get a hook, something, and you don't want to get an infection. And I mean, come on, peroxide don't take that much room, and a first aid kit ain't that bad. And some extra rope. You never know what could happen. And then coming over here and here, this is where I just, you know, I keep my registration because it's got a little motorized on there. In the state of Florida, you have to register it. But that's essentially all I keep in there. I really don't take my wallet out with me. My fishing license is on my phone, so I don't need to take, you know, my wallet out there and possibly lose my wallet. Here is where I put my scents for my lures. I love Dr. Juice, but right now that stuff is harder to find than than the Arc right now. I tell you, it is hard to find. And then here, I love these products by Salt Strong, the Slam Shadies. They're just, you know, they have never failed me. They're a good product. I have Mud Minnow, Mullet, Pink Tooth, Slam Shady, and New Penny. And tomorrow I'm going to try using a New Penny out there quite a bit. I know Slam Shady works, but I'm going to try the New Penny. I want to see how it does. And then, obviously, people always have a life jacket and a whistle. You're supposed to have that on a kayak anyways, if you didn't know. That's 2 of the things you are required: a life jacket and a whistle. You have more, good on you, but those, like the flag, you know, there's nothing that says you got to have the flag, but if you know, Fish and Wildlife, Coast Guard wants to pull you over, you need to at least have those. So for my hooks and stuff, I don't really use a lot. I did take advice from Salt Strong, and their color coded, so I can just grab them and I know what is which. You know, like the chartreuse is 1/8. You know, I can't even think of the name, but you know, the white right here is essentially 1/4, and the pearl, I think that is 3/16. You know, and I know my Haas weedless hooks right there are 1/8 because that's the only style I buy. And then, you know, these are 3/16 and 1/4, and it's pretty much 3/16 and 1/4, and then these are 1/8, and this is 1/4. And these football heads right here are great for the prawns. It does change how they react and do. I will say, you know, these are very similar to the Texas side jig heads, or I believe they're the Texas side jig heads that Z-Man makes, and now they both act different. I think these act perfect for Salt Strong products, and I think the other jig heads, the Texas jig heads, if I'm saying the right ones, work great for the Z-Man products. And I like Z-Man products too, but I'm going to, this winter and spring, I'm gonna just work on Salt Strong for a little bit, because I've always had luck with it. Just always had luck with it. So this is essentially the kayak in general. This is my setup. This is what I use. This is how I do it. The one thing I will show you real quick, if you're wondering about batteries, this right here is my battery. I have a Lifetime 100 amp battery. It comes with Bluetooth in it. You download the app, it'll tell you how your amps are, what your battery power is at, and so there's no guessing. And you know, if you put your phone right there and you're curious, you can just pop it up and see and all that. So, and then look in these boxes, I have fluoro and mono, and then, you know, just a couple screwdrivers in case anything comes loose on the boat. That's the electric gel for the battery and the connectors, so salt water doesn't corrode anything. And then, like I said earlier, this right here is just an extra popping cork, some top waters from Salt Strong, the mullet, the lipper, and the moonwalker, and then the circle hooks I use when I'm doing a popping cork. I use a 1 and a 1/0. I don't really go any bigger than that, and I've caught 27-inch reds using those size hooks. You know, obviously if you're going after bigger fish, you need something bigger, but that's what I use. And then right here, one more thing on these seats, I did add these too. They boost the seat up. They put your seat up a little bit higher if you have back issues, which I don't have. I just, you know, if I'm out on the water for a while, I just thought it'd be a good thing to have. You know, they're inexpensive. I got them online at Navarro Kayak Fishing, and that's where I got a lot of these aftermarket products from. He makes all kinds of products, just like these handles right here. Obviously, these aren't the Old Town handles. These are aftermarket ones that allow you to put accessories and all that. So you don't have to have everything there. You can kind of spread your accessories out, you know, like you don't have to have everything right there in front. So you could, as you can see, you know, my kayak jacket out of the way, and that wasn't there. It's pretty clean up here, and you have a lot of space. You know, I can put that bucket up here and still have plenty of room and be good to go. So like I said, this is my setup. If you have any questions about, you know, where I got this stuff or anything like that, just ask me in the comments and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Like I said, that's what this is all about, helping each other out. You know, you set your kayak up the way you want to set it up. This is my setup. But like, if there's a part you see that, you know, you don't know where to get it, you know, I'd be more than happy to help you. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. There's gonna be more videos coming. I've just been hunting as of lately, so that's why there hasn't really been any fishing videos. It's that time of the year, guys and gals, you know. So, but tomorrow there'll be a fishing video. Hopefully we catch a lot of fish and we have a cool video to see. And like I said, tomorrow will be the first time I use the GoPro while fishing, so I'm gonna try it on my chest and see how that view looks, and then I am going to see about getting the one that goes on your head, because I think that'll be a better view. But you guys can let me know what you guys think and all that. So thanks for watching, and until the next video, I will talk to you guys later.